Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about Jenna Ortega hating on the Wednesday script, the fact that TikTok is now in real trouble, and Bianca Censori slipping into her new role as stepmom to Northwest. Okay, so apparently no one hates Netflix's Wednesday more than Jenna Ortega. First, she exposed the production team for making her work so hard that she started ripping her own hair out, and now she's coming for the writers. The 20-year-old actress went on Dax Shepard's podcast and put them all on blast. She said, "I don't think I've ever had to put my foot down more on a set in a way that I had to do on Wednesday. Everything that she does, everything that I had to play, does not make sense for her character at all." Apparently Jenna hated the writing so much that she went ahead and changed the dialogue without consulting anyone about it. For instance, there was a line about this dress that Wednesday has to wear for a school dance, where she says, "Oh my god, I love it. I can't believe I said that. I literally hate myself." But this is something that Jenna absolutely did not want to say. She said, "When I read the entire series, I realized this is for younger audiences. When I first signed onto the show, I didn't have all the scripts. I thought it was going to be a lot darker. It wasn't." She also had a massive issue with the love triangle, which she says made absolutely no sense. In season 1, her character floats between two love interests, Xavier Thorpe and Tyler Gaplin, but she thinks that situation simply doesn't work. She is right in a sense, because Wednesday Addams is a lot of things, but she doesn't seem like the type to get caught in a typical teen romance. She's mysterious, cynical, and individualistic, which is exactly why we love her. But even if Jenna did make the right decision, you can't just go around changing the storyline of $1 million Netflix series. And yes, there was consequences. She said, "The script supervisor thought I was going with something, and then I had to sit down with the writers, and they'd be like, 'Wait, what happened to the scene?' And I'd have to go and explain why I couldn't do certain things. This led to a lot of back and forth between Jenna and the director Tim Burton." She said, "He did not want me to have any expression or emotion at all. He wanted a flat surface," which I understand. It's funny and great, except when you're trying to move a plot along, and Wednesday is in every scene. So that does make a lot of sense. She didn't really think that a character could lead a series if they were constantly monotonous and morbid, but her ideas led to a lot of on-set battles, and she felt like people didn't completely trust her to make these changes. She said, "I was completely lost and confused. Typically I have no problem using my voice, but when you're in it, I just remember feeling defeated after the first month." Shortly after the podcast episode aired, Jenna deleted her Twitter account. The interview brought about mixed reactions, but a lot of it was criticism. Journalist Mark Harris tweeted, "No worries, after this interview, writers will be lining up to work with her." Writer Michael Sheridan wrote, "Yeesh, now I get why writers are getting a little bit upset about her comments. The way this is framed, it appears she claims that she knew better than the writers, better than Tim Burton, and she's why the show was a hit. I don't know if she meant that, but that's how this reads." Last month, Jenna called the series the most overwhelming job she's ever had. Apparently she would call her parents every night in a panic because she was so overworked, stressed, and confused. But as eye-opening as that interview was, for some reason fans were not exactly empathetic to her struggles. People tweeted horrible things like, "Maybe quit acting then," and "I hate it when people whine over jobs they personally signed up for." Thankfully, a lot of fans have commended her for speaking out. Podcast host Jordan Cricchiola tweeted, "I really appreciate how candid Jenna Ortega seems to be about her experience working on Wednesday. You can be grateful for your success without being a hostage to 'I'm just grateful to be here.'" He also said the entertainment industry thrives on going along to get along and keeping your mouth closed. Another user tweeted, "My favorite thing ever is when actors of really successful shows just hate the F out of their shows because the writers can't write for crap. Exhibit A, Jenna Ortega and Wednesday." But what's really great is that Jenna is finally going to get the credit that she deserves. She's officially been confirmed as an executive producer on the show's second season, so hopefully she can continue to be brutally honest about her on-set experiences. And now, is this the end of the influencing era? Maybe, because TikTok is in a whole lot of trouble. A group of US senators have just unveiled new legislation that would give the government power to ban foreign-based technologies. That bill could be used to finally get rid of TikTok if they believe it causes a national security threat. If it passes, the Department of Commerce will be able to mitigate software, hardware, or services that come from foreign adversaries. These adversaries were listed as China, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Russia, and Venezuela. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has now endorsed the bill. He said, "This legislation would provide the US government with new mechanisms to mitigate the national security risks posed by high-risk technology businesses operating in the United States." While the new Restrict Act could potentially be used against a lot of different foreign companies, nearly all senators working on this bill mentioned TikTok as the main threat. The app is owned by a Chinese private company called ByteDance. From the outside, it does look harmless. The short-form video content and the fact that it's super easy to use have made it immensely popular, so much so that tech giants like Facebook and Snapchat see it as a massive competition. So far, the app has officially reached over 1 billion monthly active users. But with more users comes more concerns over data and security. Its Chinese ownership has raised these concerns about the censorship of videos, especially those that criticize their government. Of course, representatives of TikTok have flat out denied this. They maintain the story that they would not give their government access to US data, even if they were asked. In fact, they argued that banning TikTok would stop American culture and values from reaching people around the world. But that doesn't change the fact that it's still sketchy as hell. Otherwise, why would the US Armed Forces have banned all of their employees from installing it on their phones? The controversy ramped up again in June last year when Brendan Carr wrote a letter to the CEO of Apple and Google. The Federal Communications Commissioner called on them to remove it from their app stores. He said, "TikTok is not what it appears to be on the surface. It's not just an app for sharing funny videos or memes. That's the sheep's clothing. At its core, TikTok functions as a sophisticated surveillance tool that harvests extensive amounts of personal and sensitive data." But even without the national security threat, parents have long been concerned about the dangers of viral trends. Moving on, Kanye West and his wife Bianca Censori have been spotted out and about. The two of them were seen taking North with them to a theme park. Kanye and Bianca spent some quality time with her at Universal Studios Hollywood. They stopped by the carnival games at the park and played one of the basketball games. This is the first time anyone's actually seen his new wife with any of his kids, and that's clearly a sign that their relationship is growing. Interestingly enough, none of them were actually seen smiling in the paparazzi pictures. The three of them also spent time together in January when they went out for dinner at Nobu shortly after he married Bianca. After the ceremony made headlines, Kim shared a series of cryptic quotes on Instagram as a subtle response. One of them read, "I'm really in my quiet girl era. I don't have much to say, just much to do." Another one said, "Just remember, the black sheep usually turns into a goat. Keep doing you." The reason so many people are surprised by the marriage is that Kim and Kanye have just finalized their divorce. Since then, they've had a lot of clashes and they're not on good terms at the moment. In November, it was revealed that the former couple will be receiving joint custody with equal access to their 4 children. Kanye will also be required to pay his ex-wife $200,000 a month for child support, and he's responsible for 50% of their kids' educational and security expenses. Even with the divorce finalized though, it's going to be difficult for the couple to learn to co-parent with a new stepmom in the mix. Add that to the fact that Kim was reportedly suspicious of Bianca for quite a few years now. She's been Kanye's employee since 2020, so those two have known about each other for a long time. According to Page 6, it was well known around the company that Kim did not like her. She's also confused by the fact that their marriage ceremony was not a legal one. But Bianca's family are a lot more supportive of the whole thing. Her sister Angelina spoke to the Herald Sun and said, "It's very exciting news for both my sister and the family, but we choose to have some privacy for the time being." Another one of her relatives, Alyssa Censori, also said that she was super happy for them both. The new couple were also spotted out shopping on Melrose Place, while they were joined by fashion designer Guillermo Andrade. This is definitely interesting because, as we all know, he's been dropped from massive brands for his anti-Semitic comments. So there is a question about whether or not Kanye will even try to make an attempt to have a comeback in the industry. One thing's for sure though, Adidas is now on the verge of bankruptcy, partly because they cut ties with him. The company released a statement admitting that they're expecting to lose $1.3 billion in revenue this year because they've been unable to sell Kanye's clothing and shoes. So if they can't repurpose any of the remaining Yeezy clothing, they said that could cost them $534 million in operating profit this year. Shortly after they cut ties with the rapper, the company said they would try to sell the clothing and just strip it of the Yeezy name and branding. The CEO released a statement saying, "The numbers speak for themselves. We are currently not performing the way we should. We need to put the pieces back together again, but I'm convinced that over time, we will make Adidas shine again." So at the moment, they're scrambling to work out what they're going to do with all that inventory. At the time, Adidas said that ending their partnership with him would mean taking a short-term hit of around $240 million. But now we know that it's going to be so much more than that. So what do you guys think of this latest story? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.